Obsidian Entertainment has somehow become the dumbest currently active gaming company that exists. And that's not an easy thing to say, considering that means that they are fighting Blizzard, BioWare, Ubisoft, Bungie, and Bethesda themselves. And yet Obsidian is doing it. They are destroying everything they are making. They are supposed to release the Outer Worlds this year. And the Outer Worlds 2 is already dead. It is completely sabotaged. And by who? Obsidian themselves. This is the most hilariously stupid thing ever. Currently, this was supposed to honestly be the Outer Worlds 2 hype period where people are excited to see what's going to happen with the game and whatnot. But no, no. Obsidian completely destroyed it. Okay? And the best part is they did this again because this is the exact same playbook they pulled off with Avowed that completely destroyed any chances of Avowed ever succeeding. Now, granted, Avowed was not only an $80 game that no one was going to pay for because it's indie development Skyrim at its worst, honestly, but Avowed also was a bait and switch. Hopefully, the Outer Worlds 2 is not going to at least be a bait and switch, but I mean, we're going to see at this point. I am not sure about anything. But yes, the Outer Worlds 2 price point is gonna be officially $80. The thing that completely destroyed any chances of Avowed succeeding is they're doing the same thing again with their next game. It's hilarious. When the Outer Worlds first part originally dropped, it was supposed to be Obsidian's magnum opus. Their grand opening, grand closing. Ironic, isn't it? And, well, their grand opening was expected by a lot of people, which means the Outer Worlds 2 is not going to have even close to that hype because the hype is gone. Obsidian proved that they are not capable of reproducing Fallout New Vegas, the game that got them on the map. So that means that the Outer Worlds 2 player base is going to be way smaller than the first games because the fans are gone. And after Avowed dropped, I mean, not a lot of people are seeing Obsidian in a good light currently, and most people think it's a bad studio. And most likely, you know what's going to happen with this? Look at this. This was Avowed's beginner initial numbers, okay? It peaked at 90k players on Steam, and if for the two people that are going to be, but it's an Xbox Battle Pass game, all the people were... I don't remember where it topped in the most played Xbox game lists. By the way, the official Microsoft lists themselves that they keep track of and update. I don't remember where that exactly landed, but I'm pretty sure it didn't even break top 30. And keep in mind, the 10th position in the most Xbox most played games live list is roughly 3 to 10k active players at a time. So the fact that Avowed didn't even breach top 30 on Xbox Live really tells you a lot how bad, honestly, it was, okay? Steam was the majority of the player base, and the majority of the player base was an absolute joke. 90k start. And I was laughing about this thing from the bank. But the moment I saw the pre-release numbers peaking out at 13k, I instantaneously knew this is a bust, okay? It's a bust. Everyone knew it, everyone expected it, except a couple of Xbox fans. And so, Avowed literally died in roughly 3 days or something like that. And again, now we just have to deal with, well, the Outer Worlds 2 completely bombing when it gets released. Because this is gonna be horrible.
All right, boys, in today's video, we're going to be talking about Obsidian Entertainment and, of course, their upcoming video game, Outer Worlds 2. Now, the last time we heard from Obsidian Entertainment was when they released Avowed, which was the #1 game of the decade, or at least according to the shills that were trying to convince you that the game was a massive success, right? All the posters started with 1 million players engaged, 2 million players engaged, 3 million players engaged, and then like a month or two later, 4 million players engaged. It's the #1 game from Obsidian ever. Well, it looks like they're getting ready to repeat the same exact process without.
Yeah, everyone knows this is a lie. Again, this is by the same people who tried to sell you the idea that Assassin's Creed Shadows is the best Assassin's Creed selling game ever in the history. Yeah, yeah. Good luck with that. Good luck with going bankrupt, Ubisoft. I wish you, well, a fast bankruptcy, not well.
Outer Worlds 2. In today's video, I want to discuss a couple of issues that I have with the upcoming Outer Worlds 2, namely being the fact that the game's price is going to blow your mind considering it's a AA game that's going to give you the same, if not maybe even slightly less
Sad.
or more content than Avowed, but costs $20 more than Avowed ever did. So before we get into that video, guys, special shout out to all of you 89,000.
Oh yeah, by the way, that's actually true. It's the funny part that yeah, Avowed wasn't $80. It was 60, and 60 was deemed like 100 times too much to pay for a double A title. Like again, I personally feel that if a triple A game is not gonna be $40, yar har har, what am I supposed to do? I don't want to. I don't. You know what? I'm gonna be crazy here and say that I don't exactly feel like giving my money to people who actively hate me and wish me harm and whatnot. You know what? I'm I'm not feeling comfortable giving them my money. Ooh, I'm really non-binary at this point, boys. It is what it is.
Made a post here on Twitter that I want to read to you guys before I go over to the Steam forums because you guys,
Also, like, subscribe, and like the video. That's important.
wow, the Steam forums is a amazing place to find content because once the revelation of the pricing came out for Outer Worlds 2, people lost their mind. And I'm going to show you exactly what's going down on Steam. But before we do that, here's my post on X. I said Xbox Showcase wasn't bad at all, which I agree, it wasn't bad at all. I thought it was pretty good, to be honest.
I thought it's bad. Again, it's like the PlayStation stuff. There was zero hype, zero hype. Okay, Xbox had one hype game, and that was the Dawn Walker. That game is hype, but everything else was shit. And most of the anticipated games, like the Bioshock Infinite knockoff. I mean, I looked into that, and I have that. That's gonna be the next video, and it looks horrible. It looks so bad.
With you, maybe a solid IGN 7 out of 10, but I genuinely think it was pretty decent. One massive advertisement for essentially please subscribe to Game Pass, which is basically all anything ever is for an Xbox showcase at this point. It's like,
All Xbox is currently is a bunch of DEI black women characters in roles of scientists, it seems like, watching that Xbox thing.
please subscribe to Game Pass. Everything's an Xbox. Your toaster's an Xbox. Your fridge is an Xbox. We've lost our identity, and we just want you to subscribe to Game Pass. Please, 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 please. We're subsidizing ourselves with Microsoft's massive amount of money. Please subscribe to Game Pass. That's all it ever is. But then I said, I will say, though, there is no planet, there is no universe, and there is no multiverse that Outer Worlds is ever going to be worth an $80 retail price. Avowed should have been $50 at best, and $80 for Outer Worlds? Well, at that point, I was just laughing. No matter, we all know what's going to happen, and I genuinely believe this is going to happen, right? The marketing is always the same for these video games, especially when it comes to Obsidian's video games. It's the same thing. What's going to happen is day one. 1 million players engaged in 24 hours. It beat Outer Worlds 1 by XYZ%. Then day two.
Yeah, and again, I don't believe any of this. I believe that the numbers said, for example, for Assassin's Creed Shadows are fake. I mean, Ubisoft is in such situation that there's no real negatives for flat out lying about statistics that you are by law obliged to keep truthful. Because I mean, what's gonna happen? They're gonna have to pay a fine that they don't have money for. Yeah, there's a point where everything is so bad that lying doesn't seem like a bad option, and that's Xbox in general currently. Okay. And well, it's not it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Personally, I think that super maximum peak for the Outer Worlds 2 is going to be 30k players on Steam. Super maximum. I don't honestly believe that that's going to happen. I think like around 20-ish, maybe struggling to reach 20-ish k is going to be the most believable scenario currently. It's hard to gauge yet, so I could be horribly wrong if you watch this video and it's, months outdated and then the thing drops, because it's hard to judge engagement, how many people are hyped for this. But currently, I'm kind of looking at in the direction of, yeah, it's kind of going to be about the level of stuff.
2 million players engaged in 48 hours. It beat Outer Worlds 1 by XYZ% on day 2. Day 3, 3 million players engaged in 72 hours. It's Obsidian's #1 release ever for the company. And then 1 month later, 4 million players engaged in a month. This is the best release for Obsidian we've ever seen. Then it'll be never heard from again. It's the same.
No, then it's gonna be, oh, studio struggling financially. Is it time? Is it time to do a Ubisoft?
Same formula over and over. And I essentially put out a screenshot showcasing that the standard edition for Outer Worlds 2 is going to be $80, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, I want people to understand that the Outer Worlds is a AA Temu version of Fallout. You mean to tell me that you're
Yeah, I mean, this is literal insanity because, like, dude, the $80, $90 price tag was supposed to be for AAA, not for literal garbage dumpster two-star companies.
going to charge $80 for this video game? $100.
This is not Timu quality, okay? This is we got Timu but at home quality.
From the premium edition, you got to spend 100 smackaroos on the premium edition. Now, of course, I can already hear the Xbox shills from a mile away. What are they saying, boys? Well, if you can't hear them, let me translate. They're saying Big Daddy's giving it to us for free because it's on Game Pass, so just go subscribe to Game Pass if you're too cheap to spend $80 on a video game. Go
Also, at this point, has it not been proven about Game Pass that only games that Microsoft thinks are going to be absolutely busts are put on Game Pass, that all the games that they think that people are still actually going to like are still you need to buy for real money?
subscribe to Game Pass, brokey. That's what they're all saying because clearly that's always the answer. Go to Game Pass, go to Game Pass, go to Game Pass, and you will own nothing and be happy. Clearly, there's a lot of people that are okay with that sentiment, but that's neither here nor there. So, with that,
Those people are pretty fucking stupid. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
that being said, now that we know that it's $80 for the standard price and $100 for the premium edition, let's see what the overall community feels about this. And keep in mind, boys, Expedition 33 is $50, right? Oblivion Remastered, Oblivion, which offers way more content than the Outer Worlds could even hope to accomplish. $50, right? But the Outer Worlds, this is what the first game did. Hit a concurrent player count of 20,349. The cheapest this game has ever been was $9.89 on Steam. That is 67% off of its retail price. Keep in mind, Avowed came out after the Outer Worlds, obviously, and this game didn't.
Oh, so there's one small thing that should be said about this chart right here about the Outer Worlds. It released on Steam a year later, 2 years later than the official release, because the official game was, I don't remember where you bought the game. I don't think it was on a hard disk, but it came a very, very long time to Steam after its original official release.
After the
So these numbers are actually pretty decent, considering everything.
Outer Worlds, obviously, and this game didn't even hit the concurrent number of the Outer Worlds. Avowed hit 19,198. Now, what I
Yeah, I looked at all of these numbers. My prediction currently of the peak probably not even hitting 20K, but struggling so close. That's my current prediction. And 30K is the Hail Mary everyone and their dead grandma buys this type of prediction. I don't think it's it could change, but I kind of think there's no way this is successful. There's no world where this is successful. I think there's no world where this even actually hits rank 40 on Xbox Live.
was thinking is that Outer Worlds 2 was going to be the game that was going to perform better than Avowed. I thought that Outer Worlds 2 would be able to at least double their concurrent player count of the first game, right? At least that's what I think. Because here's the thing, when it came to Outer Worlds, they sold a lot of copies very slowly over time. This game has been out for almost 5 years now, and the majority of their sales was when the game was super cheap. You can tell because the game's player base has essentially tanked all throughout, and it really didn't go anywhere, to be honest with you. You can see Humble Bundle, right? And then you can see another Humble Bundle, Spaced Out, and then Spaced Out Encore. And look, I mean, the player base barely rose even with Humble Bundle. So even though people were buying this game, they were buying it very slowly and they were buying it very cheap. The
Humble Bundle is the situation where you buy it and the game's not really what you want and you never play it. That's Humble Bundle.
majority of the sales came here right at the beginning for the first couple of months and then completely died off after that and dragged its way to whatever number that is currently at. Now, with all that being said, let's look at the Steam forums where all the goodness comes out. I'm going to show you some of the titles for some of these threads, and then we're going to read some of them together.
Jesus.
The literal first thread that I see when I bring up the Steam forums: buy Clear Obscure Expedition 33 instead. I mean, what the? This is seriously where we're at. Who even asked for a second one of these? $80.
So this word means wait. The middle word, I have no I have no idea what this means. I think it's misspelled. I have no idea. And this is so the Russian here is waiting for a disaster. This is what this title says. Waiting for this to fail, effectively. Who even asked for a second one of these? This is the sentiment of a lot of people. Because the sentiment about the Outer Worlds is very, very, very much the same, pretty much. Can you play the game? Yes. Is the game good? Kind of okay-ish. Is the game worth your time? Probably not really. That's the sentiment about the Outer Worlds. And again, when we saw the first small teaser snippets about this, I already said months ago that this is gonna be a disaster. For one very, very simple reason. And that reason is that Obsidian didn't listen to the feedback. They just added more weapons, and they're hoping that, oh, weapons! Everyone loves weapons! Add some Call of Duty zombie weapons! Something like that. No, no one cares. The things that people said about this game is combat could be better in general, but that's like a small thing. But it was the role-playing choices that were the real problem. Role-playing choices. And it was too safe. It took literally zero risks.
Base price for this is insane. Reminder, the Obsidian you knew is long gone. Thanks, Obsidian. Poor Microsoft trying to make ends meet. Those $80 better cure cancer. $80? Is it a quad A game? So where is Russian in the quad A game? Why do the body pillow gag if the game doesn't even have romance options? Millennial writers are starving and you guys are laughing. Oh, I gotta read this one. Tommy Slop. The Outer Worlds 2 or Mario Kart World will buy on sale.
Wait, is this made by Russians? I mean, or am I misunderstanding something?
Oh, for like $20 in a few years anyway. I want to be very clear.
Wait, is Obsidian Entertainment Russians? Let me Google that. Is Obsidian Entertainment Russian? No. It's an American company, so why is there so many mentions about Russians here? What am I missing?
You're not going to have to wait a few years to buy this game on sale, because if Avowed is any inclination, Avowed's cheapest price is $52.49 at 25% off, and that happened shortly after release, about a couple of months after release. You're not going to have to wait very long in order to get this game on sale on Steam, guaranteed. The only bad part is that since the game has an $80 retail price, 25% off is not going to be anywhere close as good as it was on Avowed. But even then, Avowed wasn't even worth it at 25% off. Avowed should have released at $50. That's what I genuinely believe. I think at $50, it would have put it at a nice...
Avowed should have been $30. Change my mind. You can't.
Price point that people would have been giving it a chance. But here's the amazing thing about all this, right? Microsoft knew that Avowed stood no chance against a game like Oblivion Remastered. This is the reason why they decided to shadow drop Oblivion Remastered, in my opinion, instead of informing people that, hey, this game is coming out. Because can you imagine if they would have
Okay, Eddie. Okay, I am tired of people saying it was shadow dropped. It was not. If you follow Bethesda stuff, you know that the Obsidian, no, Oblivion, not the Obsidian. The Oblivion remaster was not shadow drop. That was an actual campaign that was supposed to look like a shadow drop for the normies. And I mean, it did a good job, not gonna lie. But I mean, Nate the Hate and all the leakers that are involved in that are sock puppet accounts for Microsoft 100%. Okay? This was a pretty good marketing campaign.
told you a year ago that Oblivion Remastered was coming out, and then Obsidian Entertainment decides to announce that Avowed is coming out pretty soon, do you think people would have bought Avowed? Hell no. If people knew that Oblivion Remastered was coming out, the majority of people probably would have waited for that game instead of spending money on Avowed, the supposed Skyrim killer, right? So, of course, they decided to give it the best opportunity possible since it's all under their wing anyway.
You know what's the funny part about that? That's actually true. When Avowed, the first information we had about Avowed, it looked good. It looked fun. It looked interesting. It did look like something that actually could be a better Skyrim. I have videos literally titled like that because at the beginning, before we knew too much information, I was hyped about Avowed. I was on the Avowed is gonna succeed train, until we got more information, and with every bit, my inner self died a little bit more because, yeah, it was clearly it was clearly becoming a bad situation.
Anyway, again, some more titles. Price is outrageous. Do you know what the definition of insanity is? This is $100 for Canadians. How about no one buys this? $80? Get the fuck out. Outer Worlds 1 wasn't even worth $60. $80 in Euro? Dream on. $80 for this garbage? $80 is ridiculous? Dude, oh my God. They are getting nuked. They are getting absolutely decimated on these Steam forums, and rightfully so, because nobody on God's green earth genuinely believes that the Outer Worlds is worth $80. The only reason why it's $80 is because they know they're going to get a minimal amount of sales for this game. They know this is not a game that most people are going to buy, at least not at full price anyway. So they're hoping to make the price so outrageous that it's going to force people to make one of two decisions. If they are a content creator of any sort and they want to own the game, then they're going to have to pay the big bucks of $80 in order to own it. But the most realistic scenario is that they know people are not going to pay the price. So they're going to say, well, I'll just subscribe to Game Pass to play it for, I don't know, $15, $20, whatever it is. I'll just go subscribe to Game Pass and pay 1/4 of the price. Boom, get the entire game, get my content made, and move on with my life. That's what they're hoping people do. Or they're just hoping people subscribe to Game Pass in general, even if they're not content creators. Most people know that this shit is not worth $80. It's a AA game at best. So let's read some of these threads and see what people have to say. Expedition 33 obviously is going to get mentioned here. No, buy Neverwinter Nights 2. Expedition must already be bought. You forgot Dungeons and Dragons.
Do you want Neverwinter Nights 2 or 1? I would go for 1, honestly.
Part. People are saying to buy Expedition 33 over this. Nice joke with the Polish price. Oh shit. I completely forgot we are the richest country in the Eurozone, or third economy in the world. Jesus, man. These people are absolutely, who even asked for a second one of these? The first one was a total flop. Why risk it? If it wasn't for Game Pass, the studio would have been gone for good. Will this actually be open world or just small contained areas again? Will there be a lack of
small contained area? Well, actually, to be fair, we don't know. But again, small contained areas don't really mean a lot when we're talking about the Outer Worlds. Because the Outer Worlds 1 would not have been that much better if it was an open world. Now, being an open world is always better in general because it's more fun, it's more immersive. But I mean, small open worlds wasn't exactly what killed this game to begin with. You know what I'm saying?
weapons like before? Will ship fights be non-existent and just loading screens again? Will
Yes.
missions be generic shoot 'em ups and fetch quests again?
Yes.
Probably the only decent thing the first one offered was the ability to KOS everyone because everyone sucked and nobody was slightly interesting. If only we could do that in Starfield. Don't forget, Obsidian doesn't know what an open world is. Don't tag it as one. The only decent thing about the first one was that I got the version with all the DLC for free on Epic Store. That's another
Well,
thing, too. They gave this game away for free multiple times, and Epic Store has done so, I think, at least 2 or 3 times by now, if I remember correctly. I did. It's hard to satisfy console Bethesda like casual. The first game is good enough. Hopefully the second would be better. I like how now it's acceptable to just be good enough, especially when you're being charged retail maximum price. Yeah, I think you should expect a little more than just
now, the people who are gonna say, well, it's not that bad, yeah, okay, pay your $80 and then question why your life is just poorness, okay? Sure. No, most people are not like that.
good enough. This game is going to flop harder than Avowed did. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think that Obsidian
I mean, that is a very high chance. Very high chance. I mean, with the price point, it's almost guaranteed. Considering, again, people were looking at Avowed and being like, no, double A game for 60 buckaroonies? Yeah, I'll better get him, I'll better get a dude to, insert fists somewhere. And I don't even like that stuff. And that will be a time and money better spent.
Outer Worlds has more of a fan base just from nostalgic Fallout fans too. I think they have more of a fan base than anything Avowed could ever hope to acquire. But
Yeah, but I think that's over. I mean, too long of a time has passed. And that's it. I think it's completely over. I don't know. Anyway, that was Hypnotic 10 out of 10. Bye!